Hey there, Knicks fans. How you doing? It's your boy, Jonathan Macri, with you for another episode of the Knicks Film School Podcast, coming at you at the beginning of the week that we've all been waiting for, I think. I've been waiting for it. I don't know if you've been waiting for it. It's been since the beginning of April that the Knicks last played a game that actually counted, but that stretch will end in a few days. And boy, do we have a lot of content coming up this week for you. We got the great Fred Katz, beat reporter for The Athletic. We have a special crossover episode coming up soon. But first, we get the week started off. Well, it's not the only way we know how, because the only way we know how is usually with Jeremy Cohen. But Jeremy's finishing up his vacation. So filling in admirably, of course, the one and only producer extraordinaire, Andrew Claudio. Hello,
hi, John.
So you gently requested that I ask you how you're doing to start the episode.
Oh, you're getting way too much behind the scenes now. You should just supposed to say, Andrew, how you doing? And then I would have had the bit going. But
I'm such a terrible liar.
It's okay. Then good to know, first of all. And set me up better. Go ahead. Set it up again. Set it up
Andrew, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, John, for a couple of reasons. First of all, any Mets depression that I had over the last week is officially gone, because I found out a little notice from Major League Baseball that the regular season doesn't matter. Just does not matter. 3 100-win teams in the National League. None of them make it to the NLCS. Mets and Braves battle it out all season. The 87-win fucking Phillies are going to battle it out for the World Series. Whatever. Baseball, you're stupid. You're officially hockey. I'm just glad the Mets make the playoffs next year. That's that. And the other thing that I'm really good about, John, as I transition into the fall season, is that the Jets are for real.
This is a good bit.
Yes.
For those, are they 3-3?
They are 4-2. And unlike your little rinky-dink 5-1 team in the other locker room at East Rutherford, no offense to the Giants, I shouldn't say that. 5-1 is 5-1. 5-1 is outstanding.
Good job by them.
Runaway coach of the year right now, Brian Daboll. But when we beat the Packers, it's on American soil in their building, not in London. And it's by 17 points convincingly. Okay. So we got 2 good football teams in New York, baby.
So it's funny. Well, let's see. 5 weeks ago now, I sat in front of this very microphone and I made a joke about how the Knicks better get their shit together and be good this season, because the respective football seasons for all New York football fans will be over by the time the Knicks start playing real games. That is certainly not the case. So I guess it's good for the Knicks so that they can, if they do stumble out of the gate a bit, maybe people won't notice. I don't know.
Well, I know something even crazier, John. Mark Berman, formerly of the New York Post, hit on it. Who would have predicted 5 weeks ago that the football seasons would be in the middle of an ascension?
Oh my goodness.
And the baseball seasons could potentially be over. We're recording this during the Yankee game, so we don't know how the Yankees will win the series, but you'll know this when you listen tomorrow, whether I was right or wrong or not. Regardless, 1 baseball season is over and 2 football seasons seem to be on their way up to something at least fun and watchable throughout the year. Which is good.
Putting all kidding aside, it's good for New York to have good football teams, because I'm not a fan of either the Jets or the Giants, but it is, it stinks when neither team is good.
Your team won today.
Yes, the Steelers did beat your favorite quarterback, Tom Brady, and the Bucs. I saw that.
Gave up his whole family to lose to Mitch Trubisky on Sundays.
What a world.
Yes.
But of course, we don't care about such things here. We care about the team that plays basketball, and in that spirit, we got a little bit of a different episode coming at you. So Andrew and I are going to hit up on some news and notes over the next 10 or so minutes. And then we are going to give you a little bit of a taste of something that we kind of accidentally did in this week's Patreon episode, which is go through really, I guess, team by team, New York's entire schedule and try to figure out how many wins this team is going to end up with. So yes, this is a shameless plug for folks to consider signing up for the Knicks Film School Patreon, which for $7 a month, you could join the Mellow tier and get a free bonus episode every week, which we usually spend talking about the NBA and not the Knicks. This is a little exception, so we figured we'd throw it in as part of the regular episode as well.
Yes, we made a promise at the beginning of Patreon that we would keep all Knicks content on the regular feed.
Yes.
We had hinted at it when you brought me on for the live stream Friday night after the Wizards game.
Yes.
That a conversation happened. And the more I thought about it throughout the weekend, I thought this really should be on the regular pod. So patrons got early access to it, and patrons also get the full episode of our preseason predictions and the last 2 weeks of over-unders. And then the week before the last 2 weeks, when we went through the award picks for this upcoming season. So our full month of predictions for the upcoming NBA season are available on Patreon. You get a bunch of other perks. You get access to our Discord. We're doing playback watch parties this season as well, which are only available for mellow tier and up.
Get Benji on a lot of the playback.
Yes, you get Benji, you get Jeremy. For those of you that saw the clip that low-key went viral, when either the RJ buzzer beater, that was a Patreon playback watch party, as well as John jumping on Patreon playback randomly for the Cam Johnson buzzer beater.
Why did you remind me of that?
Because I had fun with creating the clip for that with the
Larry David music.
Yeah, with the Curb Your Enthusiasm bit. So
that was good. Anyway. So yeah, sign up for Patreon. You won't regret it. I'm really proud of the content we put out there. And it gives me an excuse to talk about the NBA every week, which I
exactly
like. But back to the Knicks. So a little bit of news pertaining to them. Good news, I think. After Obi Toppin left the game with a twisted ankle on Friday night, it sounds like he's going to be fine to play on Wednesday. He was held out of practice on Friday, today on Sunday. But Thibodeau said it was precautionary. So that's good. The Knicks should have their full complement of guys going into the season opener in Memphis. Non-Knicks news, which has a little bit to do with the Knicks, out of Golden State, where the Warriors, I mean, God bless them and the folks over there who own that team and are willing to do what I think every fan base wants their ownership to do, which is spend a lot of money. And in signing both Jordan Poole and Andrew Wiggins to extensions, 4-year extensions, although Wiggins has a player option, over the weekend, they are committing themselves to pay, I believe the number that Adrian Wojnarowski put it at was $483 million for their basketball team that is in the 2023-24 season. That's what the projection is based on salary cap total and luxury tax. It's a lot of money. We don't really care about that. Of the Poole and between Poole and Wiggins, what's more interesting to you from a Knicks perspective? Because for me, it's an obvious answer.
Got to be Wiggins. Wiggins was the only one over the summer that there was a little bit of scuttlebutt that might be somebody that the Knicks were interested in next offseason.
Yeah, and like I saw a couple people. I scrolled Twitter a little bit this weekend. I was kind of busy. We decorated the apartment with other people in the building for Halloween, so that was what my activity was today. But I did scroll on Twitter a little bit this weekend, and I noticed there was some sentiment like, you know, who cares about Wiggins? That was never going to happen. It was always a pipe dream, whatever. For me, it was never about like the Knicks plans to make a run at Wiggins, or there was ever a real connection there outside of like, you know, the Canadian thing with OJ Barrett and CAA and this and that. It was more like he, for me, represented like literally the only major possible target if they were to look to spend money in free agency next summer. And now that he is off the table, I'm not sure that there's another player who even remotely qualifies. And I mean, I could go through some names of people who could enter unrestricted, but is there anybody that you have that you want to mention?
No, there's nobody, no one free agency wise. Like
I'll just go through the name just very quickly for anybody who doesn't know. So Chris Middleton is a player option. Don't think he's going anywhere. Kyrie Irving is going to be unrestricted.
We have a point guard.
Thanks, but no thanks.
Yeah.
The great Kristaps Porzingis player option.
We have a center or a power forward for that matter.
How you doing?
Yeah.
James Harden player option. Not sure he's on the old Knicks timeline. D'Angelo Russell is going to be expiring. My guess is the Knicks probably could have had him this summer if they really wanted to.
Yeah.
Not someone that they should be looking at. And then after that, I mean, honestly, the guy, and this what's so fascinating about the Warriors' point of view, and I'd be curious to listen to what the Light Years guys are saying about this. Draymond Green has a player option for $27 million. Is he going to pick that up? But again, even if he didn't, and he made himself available to teams who were willing to spend for him, like, you know, is anybody we want the Knicks going after Draymond Green? And then after that, it's like Fred VanVleet, you figure he could probably still consider an extension. He has a player option. There's not really anybody else, you know? So what this means for the Knicks, in my eyes, at least, any question about whether they were going to attempt to operate as an under the cap team. And I wish we had Jeremy here for this, but there's really not much more to say. I think he would agree. I think that pretty much goes out the window. Yeah. Because as it stands, it was going to be very tough for them to operate as an under the cap team, let alone a team that's so under the cap as to make a significant offer to a significant player. Now they kind of don't have to worry about that. So in a way, the Wiggins extension and again, I'm not even saying I ever really wanted Wiggins, but to be very clear, he was literally the only guy who you could look at and at least make a case for that the Knicks should maybe think about him. They don't have that temptation. On the flip side of it, if you believe the Knicks are going to be good this year, or at least decent, which I know both of us do, that means that this is essentially the team you're going to have for the foreseeable future, unless they make a significant trade.
There it is.
Yeah.
We think both of us think they will. And
at some point. Yes.
I think the over the cap, under the cap nature of the team. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I think they intended to operate over the cap 100%. Until Dallas said, go fuck yourself. Like, go make cap space. When Dallas decided they didn't want to work out a sign and trade for Brunson, that's why we saw the draft night chicanery. That's why we saw the Burks and the Noel and the Kemba trades turn into what they were. They were making cap space for Brunson because Dallas wouldn't cooperate. And then now they don't, that's not going to happen this summer. They're not going to have a need to.
Let's rephrase that slightly. They put themselves in a position to be ready to operate as to sign Brunson outright. But even till the very end, they left the door open that if Dallas wanted to complete a sign and trade, that you know, they still could have worked something out where it maybe would have been beneficial to both parties. Obviously, they didn't do that.
Which I think you and I, based off of what the reporting has been so far this offseason, has been they got early indication from Dallas that they weren't going to play ball.
Exactly. So they did what they needed to do. So, yeah, I mean, maybe 2024, the Knicks will have some cap space. We don't need to talk about 2024 free agency quite yet. It's 2 years away. But yeah, I mean, this is going to be the team. And, you know, I've kind of hinted at this before. I would not expect them to make a big trade moving forward, unless if this season goes awry, different story. But assuming they do win some games to get out of the gate, I think the only trade they're going to make is a trade to get a star player. I don't think there's going to, I mean, other than maybe a little trade to get like Cam out of here or something. I don't think you're going to see, you know, a trade just to like move off of a veteran or whatever. Again, if they're winning, which I think we both think that they will. The Poole extension, $140 million total, 120.
Yeah, you're
120 guaranteed. So compare that to RJ Barrett. RJ got 120 total, 107 guaranteed. Is RJ Barrett a better player than Jordan Poole? I know most of the people listening to this podcast think so. I think so. I think he's a better player.
I think he's more talented. I think Poole's been better, but in a limited sample size.
Well, Poole could shoot. And I think
that's what I'm saying. He puts the ball in the hoop more consistently.
Yeah. And I think
more efficiently, I should say.
Much more efficiently. Yes. I think between the Poole and the Tyler Hero extensions together, it just goes to show that there is a premium, a very big premium, on guys who can efficiently make shots, and even more specifically than that, guys who can efficiently make difficult shots that they create those looks for themselves in many cases, including a lot of threes, obviously, in the case of Jordan Poole. Like, teams are going to pay for that. And there are very big questions about, what those guys are on the defensive end of the court. Obviously, Jordan Poole couldn't even stay on the floor in the finals last year. Now he's getting all this money. But it really does just go to show how even though RJ Barrett, we all fully believe, can have a far more well-rounded game than both of those guys, the market is what the market is. And, I think the fact that he signed for the number he is, we hope it's a huge bargain. But it just speaks to where the NBA is at this moment. You want to get to our conversation about how many games the Knicks are going to win this year?
Yes, this is a Patreon tease. If you want to hear the full episode, the link is in the description of this episode, both on YouTube and on the podcast feed. Here it is.
Who's the Knicks' last game against this year?
The Knicks' last game this season
is against Indiana.
Oh, okay. So it won't matter.
So the Knicks lose in unconscionable game 82 to the Pacers D squad.
I'm telling you right now, it's not happening.
Which takes them from the 8 to the 9, and then that happens. That's how everybody gets fired.
Yes, that's very New York Mets of them. I'm just telling you right now, Indiana will trot out a lineup of Cohen, Claudio, Persianen, Macri, and they'll make sure that they don't risk it with Benji. They'll trot out your daughter. Here's why the Knicks are gonna. I would be shocked if they're not in the play-in. Their last 8 games. Here they are: at Orlando, Houston at home, Miami at home, 7th seed, Miami, yes. Miami at home, at Cleveland. So that's not great. Although you never know where Cleveland's going to be. Maybe they're have something locked up. Washington at home, at Indiana, at New Orleans. Not terribly easy. Indiana at home. That's at least 4-4. Yeah. Well, no, I was going to say that. To me, I think that's at least 5-3, and maybe if they steal one, that's 6-2. So if you're at least, you watch. Okay, my bad. You're right. Yeah, I think Washington at least 5-3 out of it. That's 5 games I think they'll be favored in. So I agree. So maybe they could steal one either at home against Miami or at Cleveland. Man. Or you'd go to New Orleans if they've got stuff locked up. I cannot wait until the game against Memphis. I know I said this last year and it actually turned out to be true. Because I was before game 1, I'm they need game 1. Game 1's important. And I think game 1 will tell us a lot. It did tell us a lot. Yeah. And those last 3 minutes of the regulation in game 1 were a preview of things to come. Boy, let me tell you. Specifically with one Kemba Walker. Yeah. Unfortunately. I remember that was one of the very early season disagreements we had. I was why isn't Derrick Rose in the game? And it was because Kemba's a starting point guard. It's yeah, but when did they actually pull away and win? It was in the second overtime when Derrick Rose came in. So we should recap this, by the way. But go ahead. We'll recap it. But speaking of Kemba, news that apparently the Pistons are finally going to waive him. But the report had been that they were keeping him on the roster until someone showed interest in signing him as a buyout guy. And then I think they just got to the point where they just needed to cut down the roster, and they didn't want to sacrifice a guy who actually is meaningful to them. So, it looks like they're going to wait until the last possible minute, though. Kemba Walker's not going to be on a basketball team this year. I don't think so either. That's not especially since Charlotte is about to sign a backup point guard. I forget who. I think Shams had it before. Well, maybe they'll go the Knicks route and wait. They'll wait until they'll wait in 27 days, and then someone will sign Kemba for a week, and then they'll release him, and then another team will wait 27 days, and then someone will sign Kemba for a week. You have no idea what bit I'm trying to do, are you? No. Okay. What are you reading? I'm looking for who the hell the Hornets are going to sign. Okay. What I said was they'll wait 27 days. Yeah. And then they'll sign him for a week and then release him. And then another team will wait 27 days. Remember last year when the Knicks benched Kemba Walker for 27 days? Yeah. Then he won player of the week. Yeah. And that was the only week he was effective. Yes. I forgot it was 27 days. Yeah. Theo Maledon is the player the Hornets are signing, allegedly. By the way, we may have misspoke. What?
Because
what has happened while we were recording?
I don't, because I'm looking at the division record for the Knicks last year, and it shows they only played. Yeah, they only played in division 4 games, not 5.
There's no team they play 5 times next year in the division.
NBA doesn't do 5 teams in the division. They used to. We both got tripped up.
We both got tripped up. All right, it's still 16 games in the division.
I think that they will go 5-11 in the division, which is exactly what they went in the division last season.
I'll sign up right now for 4-12. I legit will sign up right now for 4-12.
That's the equivalent of signing up for 5-15.
Yes.
How many? Let's end on this. How many teams can win the title?
Can win the title?
Yep.
All right. So I'm just gonna count this out loud.
I'll say yes or no to each.
Milwaukee, Philly, Boston.
Yes.
Denver, Golden State, the Clippers. You really don't think Denver could win it, huh?
No.
Okay. I absolutely think they could. But okay. I also respect that they haven't even made the finals yet. So to say they could win it would sound ridiculous.
I'm adding the Nets to that list.
I am also adding the Nets to that list. And then I cannot believe I'm saying this. Given the right trade, I can see the Lakers.
I'm also adding the Lakers to that list. So that means I have 7 teams on my list. You have 8?
Yeah. And then Cleveland, no. Toronto, no other team in the East. Sorry, Knicks fans. And then sorry to you. I don't think Dallas could win it this year.
They're my team on the border.
I know. They lost.
And you know what? Neither of us have Phoenix.
I'm shook after last season. I also I kept contradicting myself with Phoenix, how it was they're on pace for 65 wins. And then I remember what I was saying during the playoffs that they went to the finals. It's AD went down. Well, Jamal Murray went down. Well, Kawhi went down. And they got to the finals, a team that got Giannis back, and they blew a 2-0 lead. I'm at this point, I'm just going to believe it when I see it.
The reason I'm thinking about Dallas is the are they a trade away question, and what are the odds they make the trade?
There's your Levine team.
Oh man, that would be.
Listen,
talk about a team that would make a swing. They would make that swing.
I think they would, and this is why I'm very fascinated by Chicago. And if they did want to go get 2 picks for Vooch and DeRozan, get something for Caruso, and then get all the picks for Levine from a team that's desperate to try and win this year. You could sell that to your ownership. Plus, you don't have control over your pick except top 4. Their pick is top 4 protected this year. So if they're gonna start losing, they better be the worst.
Yeah,
That's my thought on Chicago. Look, I could look really stupid and they get off to a 16-5 start. It's they were fine. I don't see it. I think the blow up or see the 16-5 start.
Yeah, I don't see the 16-5 start.
Yeah,
if you gave me a pick of 5-16 or 16-5, I'd pick 5-16.
Jeez.
If forced to pick between those two, I would pick. I don't think there's any world where this team gets off to that good of a start. All right. Anything else before we get out of here?
Just one more. Money where my mouth is. Knicks to make the play-in plus 125. I got it. Knicks to win 40 games plus 220. I got it. Shout out to my friends at FanDuel.
Plus how many? Plus 220. You getting 2-1 odds? Better than 2-1 odds.
Let me double check
for the Knicks to win 40 games.
Right now, that would be them hitting the over. So let me double check the odds I got. Also, sorry, Yankee fans. You'll probably know the result by the time you hear this. I bet the Cleveland Indians today.
Excuse me. Yankee game going on right now?
Yeah, they're playing the 1:00 game. Oh, my bad. Not 2-1. It's plus 115 for the Knicks win 40 games, and then plus 125 for them to make the play-in. Still, positive odds for both. I was like, oh, I think both of those will happen.
The problem with the Knicks is even if you give them all 8 games against the bottom 8,
that neutralizes the what's it called?
Let's even make it a little bit more general. Let's even make it like let's say they go 1-9 against the bottom 5.
9-1.
9-1 against, what did I say?
1-9. That would be fire everybody.
That would be bad.
Yeah, fire everybody.
9-1 against the bottom 5.
Mm-hmm. That if we go 4-12 against your division,
hold on. Let's go
500.
The rest of the West. We keep talking about what a bloodbath the West is and how amazing the West is. Are the Knicks winning 4 more games against Western Conference teams? 5 more games against Western Conference teams?
You're saying bottom 5, that the bottom 5 in the East or the bottom?
No, the bottom 5 in the West. The bottom 5 in the West. Let's give them 1-9, which I don't. Or sorry, 9-1 against those bottom 5, which I don't feel great about. Just handing them nine wins that they're supposed to get. But let's do that. Let's give them 5 more wins against the West, which I think is fair. Hell, let's give them 6. So 6-14 against the top 10 in the West. I think that's fair. So now we're at 15-15 against the West. Okay. Let's do your other exercise. So they go
4-12 against the division. So that puts them at 19 and 27. And
we think in our scenario, the East is going to have 6 bad teams, none of which will be in the Knicks' own division. So I'm not going to look through the schedule and see how many
like
games.
9. And so if you say there's 15, because I don't think there's a team they play 4 times. So let's just say there's 15.
Yeah, no, it's.
Oh no, there has to be a team they play 4 times because that's how you get to 82.
Yeah.
So just the remaining games. I'm at 19-27 right now. What's that?
You're at 19-27 right now.
So how many?
With 4 or 5 wins against their own division.
4.
That's for 4 wins against their own division.
Yes.
And you're at 19-27.
I hope people are finding this fascinating because I am. I'm trying to figure out what the Knicks have to go against the other 10 teams.
I'm looking at how many times they play certain teams. That's where, and hold on, I got it right here. Okay, hold on. So we're going through the bottom teams. They play the Bulls 3 times. Let's give them 2-1 against the Bulls. They play the Hornets 3 times. Let's give them 2-1 against the Hornets.
Okay.
You should be doing the math.
I got it. At 23 right now.
They play the Pistons 4 times. I'm going to be ambitious. I'm going to give them 3-1 against the Pistons.
Okay.
Play the Pacers 4 times.
Give me all 4.
Come confidence.
On. Give me all 4.
Confidence with which you said
they suck. Come on.
Hold on.
Fine. They'll have a fuck up. They'll go 3-1.
Hold on. I want to see when they play Indy.
Two of them are the last 3. The 2 of the last.
The first time they play Indy is December 18th.
They will have traded every.
And then they play
NBA
Indy
basketball player.
Game 42. So January 11th. Give them 3-1 against
3-1
because we also gave them. Okay,
this is a fun exercise. I'm all on board. So we're at the 29 right now.
Okay. Orlando, they played 3 times, 2-1.
Okay.
Washington 4 times. That's good news.
Give me 3.
Hopefully, I'll give you 3 there. Okay, that seems fair. What are we up to?
34.
34 wins. So that means against here are the teams that are left. Ready?
Cleveland, Milwaukee.
Oh, wait,
okay, I'll let you say it.
So Milwaukee, Cleveland, Milwaukee, Miami, Atlanta. Cleveland, Milwaukee, Miami, Atlanta. Okay.
How many? And they play all of them.
I'm going to tell you right now how many times they play those teams.
Sorry.
Cleveland, Milwaukee, Miami, Atlanta. So we got 3 against the Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
We got 4 against the Heat. So that's 7. We got 4 against Cleveland. So that's 11. And then we got 4 against Atlanta. So that's 15. How many wins are we up to?
We're at 34.
We're at 34 wins and we have 15 games against those teams.
So pessimistically, you go 6-9.
So for 40, hold on. So 6-9 against those
4 teams.
They can go 6-9 against those 4 teams.
Yes, they can. They've lost once against the Hawks in the regular season the last 2 seasons. I understand DeJounte Murray adds a thing to that team, but I also the other side of the floor does exist.
Like they played Miami 4 times. They've beaten the Heat. Did they beat the Heat last season, right?
Yes,
they finally beat the Heat.
Yeah, they beat the Heat in Miami while they were trying to.
A wild game.
Yeah, while they were trying to win the 1 seed. Emmanuel Quickly, shout out to you.
Of course, the one game, probably the best game.
No Julius Randle too, which is the better part. Yeah,
the one game I missed live.
You didn't miss live tweeting it.
No, I did not.
That's your birthday dinner, right?
Yeah.
No. Because it was April. Never
mind. No, it was a
thing. Yeah.
It was a thing that I had. Wait, so Cleveland, Atlanta, Miami. Who's the other team?
Milwaukee. They've beaten Milwaukee at least once the last 2 seasons. Like I actually give them one like, oh wow, Giannis is taking tonight off. Oh wow, Derrick Rose showed up.
I think I've put 43 and 39 out there a few times. I'm taking it back. I'm going. I think I got to flip it. I think I got to flip it to 39 and 43.
Jeez, John. Okay. I'm sticking with 45.
Oh my God.
Yes.
After that exercise that we just did,
yes, I did. Because we're doing the safe bet. They're going to be better than people realize.
Fine,
they're going to be the one team that doesn't care if they're not winning 60 or not losing 60.
I'll go 40.
They're aiming for 45.
All right. I gotta
will say you.
What?
Putting the math in front of me, be like, so that's how they only win 40 games this year.
I'll go 40. You could go 45. I'll go 40.
Deal.
All right. This has been fun, especially that last little part.
Did I just light money on fire? Jesus.
I think you did. Good job by you.
No, you know what? It's all going to the wedding fund. Take that, Macri.
Thank you, everybody, for checking out another bonus episode of the Knicks Film School Podcast. We'll be back with you with another episode next week after we get to talk about some NBA games. I can't wait for that. Stay tuned. Talk to you soon.